if everybody's okay with that.
Shalom לכולם.
Hello. It's
We're so
great to see
excited.
you. Yeah.
You agree? Okay.
Me and Nissan were talking before, just before we came back, and we were both like, we are so excited to come back to these programs. And honestly, as somebody that doesn't go to shul in Israel, when I heard that I was going to be working as part of a shul, I didn't know what to expect.
Mhm.
And I can just say that, like, being excited for something that I didn't even know what was going to come it's been really great. And I'm really happy to do these programs and to see you all. So excited.
Thank
We're
you
happy too.
all for first of all being here and joining us. I love those programs and I can't wait for another session. And we wanted to thank Cora for helping us. So yeah, let's start.
So we're going to start and share just a bit of our, wait, do you want to do winter break first or news?
I think
What do you
news.
wanna do? Okay, we'll start with the news. We put together like a little news thing every week. And so we did one a bit longer for covering a few events that also happened during the break. So just give me a minute to share my screen. Sorry, lots of things open.
Mhm.
Okay. Let me know if you guys can see.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna skip the first part that's talking about our winter break, and we're gonna tell you a bit about that later.
You can skip the international. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to start?
Sure. So this past week was the International Holocaust Memorial Week, and on the 27th, it was the day that we that the International Holocaust Memorial Day. And while this is not the day that we like in Israel, there's a different day that we do Holocaust remembrance. It was still very important for us to talk about this. And this year, there's been like new countries like Egypt and Abu Dhabi that have been doing Holocaust remembrance ceremonies. So new educational things that are going around, because sometimes, at least especially recently with the Freedom Convoy, that there was Nazi flags. I feel like education is not being taken as seriously as it should. And on the other hand, we have these new countries that are doing ceremonies and that are educating. So it was very important for us to mention this.
Okay. So the next unfortunate thing that it was very important for us. Yes, Randy?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a quick question, if I may. So I think it's fascinating that Egypt and Abu Dhabi have started to do international Holocaust programming. I would love to understand what they're doing. That may be a really fascinating, topic, Cora.
Yeah.
And because I had no idea that they were doing that. I'd love to know what they do. I think that's fascinating. Thank you for sharing.
I definitely don't know enough about it. I would love to also learn about it. I think it's very exciting and it's good that the education is becoming a bit broader.
Yeah, we will definitely do our research about it. Okay, so the next unfortunate thing is happened a few weeks ago. I remember myself sitting in front of the television crying because I felt very, very sad about it. So 2 IDF commando officers killed from fire from our own forces at the West Bank base. Here you can see in the pictures Rav Seren Ofek Aharon, Zichrono Livracha, and Rav Seren Itamar El Harar. Both of them crept up on another soldier during patrol. They thought he was a suspect, and he thought he was under attack, and he shot them. and I added a little paragraph about two of them. So I will read it for you. Itamar and Ofek were leading commanders in the commando unit, a unit with blessed deeds. Their doing was based on values and principles they believed in throughout their lives, and in particular in their military service. So yeah, it was very important for me at least to mention this accident that happened. And being that time in Israel, I think both of us, Talia and I, we felt the pain that all the nation felt. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're starting off with a bit of sad news. I'm sorry, but this is Yoram Tarlev, and he was a poet and an Israeli songwriter, and he wrote tons and tons of classic songs, Givat HaTachmoshet, Yeshnan Banot, tons of songs, and he sadly passed away at the age of 83. But he was remembered, like, I know at least across the community of all the Shinshinyot, not just here, across North America and the world, everybody was doing different activities with his songs, with his poems.
Yeah.
So definitely had a big impact, and we're gonna listen to a bit of one of his songs soon.
Personally, I grew up on his songs. My mother loves him, so it's very sad. COVID status. So this is not updated. It's from January, but you can definitely see how bad it is. It's not good. Most of my friends had COVID. It's a usual thing in Israel, unfortunately. And we hope it will get better.
I think one difference though that we can at least see is if you're looking at how many people have had their vaccines, we're now talking about people having their fourth vaccine. So third is done, and now the numbers that we're counting, the 600,000 that you're seeing here, sorry, the dog is bothering me, is the amount of people that have had their fourth vaccine.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna listen to a bit of one of his songs, and yeah, Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I don't know if it was on the chart there. I'm wearing contacts that are for distance, so I can't see that well close. But did you say the proportion of the population that is vaccinated?
Not the proportion. It was saying that there are right now 600,000. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry with the dogs. Nissan, do you want to say? I'm gonna kick them out.
All right, I can't hear because of the.
I was going to say, I would be curious to know what percentage of the population, like here, I think it's now close to 90%. What percentage of the population in Israel is actually fully vaccinated?
That's a good question that I generally, I don't know specifically.
You have till 9 o'clock to find out. It's okay.
But a lot of people are getting it, which is great. That's from what I know. I can definitely look for it and tell you.
It's okay. It's not urgent.
So what's Israel's total population right now?
Sorry?
Around 9 million, I would say.
Okay, so if you look at that and it says 6 million have had their first shot, we don't know how many have had their second shot or their third shot, and it looks like 600,000 have had their fourth. So it looks like it's only like a third of the population has actually even had a first shot. You're looking at a little over 6 of 9.
I think the proportion is much less than here in Canada, for example.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't think it was that low though, as a third. I didn't think it was that low. I thought it was more like around 50 to 60, but I could be wrong.
6 out of 9 million is 2/3, not 1/3.
So for
Of the population.
example, the percentage of the positive cases yesterday, just for yesterday, is 26.14%.
Of what? Of the tests that are coming back positive?
Yes.
The other interesting statistic is I can't remember what they call it, but how quickly it's replicating, like the what's it called, Lisa? The factor, like, there's always a number, like if one person gets
Oh,
it, they get what's it called?
yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. They want it under 1%, but I think it's at like 3 or 4%, something like that now. But it's how fast it's replicating between people.
Exactly.
I'm not sure you're actually going to see that, but yeah. I thought so. Overall, I thought Israel's vaccination status was higher than. It's not higher than ours, but higher than it looks like from the numbers. Like it looks like it's only like 2/3 of the population has actually even got their first shot. So
Probably more than that.
yeah, there. So
Yeah.
There's a lot of anti-vaxxers there.
Yeah. For
There are a
sure.
lot of
And a
really-
lot of them, and a
That's
lot of them
surprising.
had it.
Yeah.
And then they had this thing that if you had it, you didn't have to get a shot, which is proven incorrect. But that's what happened. So those people say, well, I had it, so why should I get a shot?
Yeah.
So that's why you get lower numbers too.
Yeah.
So
Right now.
Haaretz at the end of August reported that 6 million Israelis received their.
Oh, we can hear you. Randy, can you hear us?
That's okay. It looks like she dropped out. Once she comes back, we'll go back to it. But
Okay. So I think we'll listen to just a bit of his song and then we'll continue.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I didn't share my sound. So sorry. Still not good with all this.
We're still in it.
Still trying. Okay, let me know if you can hear.
פקחתי את עיניי, היה אז חודש אחד, ראיתי מעליי ציפור קטנה אחת, ותכלת השמיים וענן יחיד, וראיתי את ההר הירוק תמיד, במשחקי ילדות, קלי השיכרון, רדפתי פרפרים, החלקתי במדרון, חיפשתי לי מסתור ללב תמיד, אז ברחתי אל ההר הירוק תמיד. ההר הירוק כל ימות השנה, אני עוד חולם ושואל, לנשום רוחותיך כבראשונה, לשכב בצלך כרמל. בשנות הנעורים בשנות האהבה, טיפסנו בשבילם ידי בתוך ידם, השקפנו למרחב.
Okay.
That was
So
just
this-
the song.
I was
One of-
listening.
I'm sorry. I'll send you the link.
I love this song. I grew up in this song, listening to it.
Very pretty, beautiful song.
Beautiful. Okay, so now it's time to share a little bit about our winter break in Israel, which is always fun to talk about.
Give me
Yeah.
a minute. My screen for some reason here is okay. Got it. Guys, we're learning together. Slowly, slowly. I'm sorry. Okay. So we're going to talk just a bit about what we did on our winter break. Feel free to ask us questions or whatever you want. Thank you, Nitzan, for the beautiful graphic. Nitzan is our in charge of our graphics.
Okay. So here you can see me and Roy. This is my boyfriend. And here we went to a tasting tour at Machne Yehuda Market in Jerusalem, which was one of the best things I have ever did, and I would recommend all of you to do. It was his birthday, so I was very lucky to be there. And I bought like a card. If you know, maybe you know the card. When you have little cards and you give each one of them to the vendor, and he will give you a little thing of something like falafel, chachapuri, hamburger, smoothie, ice cream, cookies, a lot of things. We ate so much. It was so fun. So every time we took a bite of something, I took a picture of us taking a bite of it. It was great. And I was very lucky to be with him because he's a soldier in the army, also in the commando. So yeah, it was very fun.
I spent most of my trip trying to get all the vitamin D back into my body as fast as I can. So I really enjoy hiking, and so I took my family. I told them, "You're taking your days off from work, and you're coming with me to the desert, to the middle of nowhere." And we went together, and we even here you can see on the top corner there's kind of like snowboards, but giant sand dunes, and you kind of just slide down. Um, and here is Engedi, which is a beautiful natural oasis in the middle of the desert. So nice. And because we were there in the middle of the week, also no people, which was very peaceful. Not that in the desert it's a lot, but less than usual. And my mom doesn't like the desert too much, so we spent a lot of time on the beach. My mom loves the beach. We went in, it was warm enough. It was great. Yeah. Oh, you're on mute, I think.
Was it in Engedi that you went down the sand on these boards?
No, the sandboard is in a really, really small like town. It's called Kmehin, which is the name of also mushrooms, but in the desert. We just randomly found it. Very lovely.
Okay, thank
you. That's it.
Okay, so I'll start with the top picture. Here you can see me and my family. We had a dinner for my dad's birthday at one of my favorite restaurants. It's an Israeli chef restaurant called Chaim Cohen. Maybe you know him. He's a judge in MasterChef, the show. It was very nice. Here you can see Ro'i, then my father Ronnie, my mother Sigal, my brother Rif, my sister Noam, she's now in the army, and her boyfriend Michael. Here you can see the picture with my girlfriends. We had breakfast at the Tel Aviv port. It was so sunny, it was warm, it was fun. We had shakshuka. We had a great time. And from the left, you can see my caravan friends. They are my friends from a delegation. They are from all over the country. And I hosted them at my house for a pizza night, which was great.
What is Caravan?
So Caravan is the Friendship Caravan is the delegation of the Scouts. When we put up a show and we go around the US for 3 months, and basically we strengthen the connection between us, the youth Israelis, and the Jewish community. So we go to camps and JCCs around the US, and we do a full show, like it's like a Broadway of Israeli songs and acting. And it's amazing, but unfortunately, because of COVID, we ended up not doing it in the US, we did it in Israel, which was great as well. And it was amazing. It was awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm familiar with Caravan because some friends of ours, kids did it, and one is now about 36, 37. So I've known some people that, but you're traveling all the time. So I'm just curious, just a logistical question. How do you, like, I know it's a very, very, very dynamic show. And how do you like manage with the clothing? I mean, like, where do you guys do your laundry? Like you're busy every day, like you're traveling.
Right. So we sleep at a host families sometimes. Sometimes if we go to a camp, we sleep at camps. There, I guess. Yeah, there.
I mean, you're always on the go and there isn't much
Yes.
time. And
Yes,
it's
it's
not like
very
you guys are standing still singing there. You're running around dancing, so
Right.
it's very
It's very intense. Like I sacrificed every weekend doing rehearsals at Tel Aviv, and realizing that it's not gonna happen was very hard for me. But at least I have the friends, I have the experience. It was great. We did it in Israel, and it was wow, one of the best things. Yes,
yeah, wonderful.
thank you.
I also spent some time at the shuk, not at Shuk Machne Yehuda like Nissan, but I went to Shuk Carmel in Tel Aviv, which is beautiful, tons of food, lots of people yelling. I think the shuk is one of the places where you kind of feel Israel at its more extreme points, which is very fun. It was on a Thursday, so lots of people preparing for their Friday night dinner, is buying stuff. I don't know. I can't explain the feeling of a shuk. It was just so fun and vibrant. Um, a few of my friends came, and you can't see, but there's like two more on the other side. And it was really special meeting my friends there, because I think for Nissan too, all our friends are at completely different points in their life. So one of my friends that she's here, she's in the army, and one is doing a shnat shirut with kids with special needs, and one is a combat soldier, and one is doing shnat shirut with poverty community. So everybody, and I'm here, like everybody's in really different places, and the only time we can really meet up usually is during like the Friday or Saturday when they're allowed to come back home. And I even did one day when I went to them, so kind of traveling around the country, going to different places. Um, and it was very special seeing everybody together again. It like kind of like a reunion, but and everybody has different stories and different points of view on things that we once thought of the same. So it was very interesting. And I also went to this beautiful dress exhibit. It was done by they brought together lots of different famous Israeli designers and put on a giant show, and it was based on like prom dresses or evening dresses, and there was like a Cinderella section or prom dresses from the past and in the future, so all sorts of different things. And I think, as you can tell, we tried to do as much Israel as we can in 3 weeks. So we did nature and culture and family and friends and just as much as we can. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, so thank you for listening to our very good experience that we had back home. It definitely was great. We are back with more energy. I brought the sun with me, and we are ready to work. So today we're going to talk about the Israeli Space Week that happened not a while ago.
Last week.
Yeah, last week. So
the Israeli Space Week is like, we tried to look and see if there was like a specific reason why it was made or why it was done on these dates, and there's not really a specific reason, except that the whole point of it is to bring awareness and to educate and to kind of push children towards encourage them to learn sciences and think outside the box. And I know that in my school, we used to do lots of activities, or they would bring people. And one year they brought Space IL, which is the company that sent the spaceship this year, or 2 years ago, sorry. And they like said, this is the problem, the spaceship has to land, like how can you think of ways that it doesn't crash? Like all sorts of crazy things just to try and get you thinking and try to get you excited about science and to educate.
yeah.
And one of the more, slicha.
I just wanted to say that the Israeli Space Week, it's all about innovation, give example for the younger generation to know more, to learn more, to do their own research, to get them to know Israel in space, because we are a modern country. not like a lot of people around the world think that there are a lot of how do you say gmalim, like
Camels. We got
a
asked
lot
to
of
take camels to school.
Camels.
So some
Yeah.
people have.
That's okay. It's
So-
like people used to think Canadians that the police are all Mounties and they ride around on horses and we all live in igloos and same thing.
yeah. So I heard a lot of those things. So yeah, it's a lot about innovation, science, and it's very interesting. I love this subject.
One of the faces of the Israeli Space Week is Mishpachat Ramon, the Ramon family. So I don't know if any of you have heard.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, I see some nodding. Okay.
Good.
So for anybody that does not
Yeah,
know,
well, yesterday was the anniversary of
Right.
his death.
Yeah.
so for anybody that doesn't know, the first Israeli astronaut, Ilan Ramon, he did not survive the full trip. And I don't want to give any spoilers because we're going to watch now a part of a TED Talk that is done by Rona Ramon, which is his wife. And she's going to tell her story from her point of view. And she is one of the most, I think, famous people in the country, not for her music and not for her this or not for her acting. She has pushed so strongly for education of Israeli Space Week, but also just in general of how to deal with her loss. She has put all her energy into coming to schools and teaching and building facilities and put her whole life's work into this. And she's like the face of the survivor of having to deal with the pain of losing somebody for the country, which is something that a lot of Israelis can connect with. And she's very well known, and we'll let her tell her story. Give me 1 minute. Wait, sorry. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Shalom, everyone. In June 1981, in Chag Shavuot, I was standing on the south beaches of Eilat. I was there, 70 years old, looking on the beautiful Red Sea. I was there, and all of a sudden I heard a very loud voice from the sky. I looked up, and I saw a form of 8 planes, 4 and another 4 just behind them, crossing the Red Sea and vanishing into the horizon. I was there, standing overwhelmed from the sight, escorting with my sight the last plane that vanished into the horizon. The 8th plane, the 8th pilot. 5 days after, we heard from the foreign media about the nuclear reactor attack of our Air Force in Iraq. 5 years later, I met Ilan, the little dot that vanished into the horizon, in a full size. Ilan arrived to my birthday party. I was 22 at that time. I always said that I got him as my present for my birthday. And Ilan, at that time, a student for engineer, a nice, handsome young man, but 32 at that time. He always said that he was just waiting for me to grow up. And so I did. 6 months after, we decided to start a mutual life together. Out of much love, respect to each other, we supported each other graduating for our first degree, he as an engineer and me as a physical education teacher. With much love, we supported each other, changing our careers, and with wonderful 9 years after, we brought 4 children to the world. Many moves in Israel from one base to another brought us finally to our home in Reut, raising those beautiful children, creation of love. When Noale was 1 year old, Ilan got a strange phone call from the Kiryat, from his commander, asking him if he wants to be an astronaut. And Ilan, we're in April 2nd, he thought it was April 1st. And he thought that somebody is pulling his leg, of course. So he said, just leave me alone. I want to go home and finish the day. So he said, it's actually serious. We're looking for the first Israeli astronaut. Ilan, like a good husband, told him, wait for tomorrow. I'll ask my wife and I'll let you know. And so we did. We packed our stuff. We packed all our luggage. They never saw so much luggage for a young family. And we arrived to Houston, representing our country, to conduct a mission. For the first time that Israeli astronauts will conduct an experiment in space. It was experiment dealing with dust and with a new phenomenon that we didn't know about before the launch. They found so many information that helps the researcher to work on the data even until now. We're very proud of who we are and what we're going to perform. Ilan and me, as two Sabras, going to represent our country with much proud of who we are and, again, what we stand for as Israelis, as native Sabras. We were there, and we're actually realizing very fast that if we're not celebrating, actually doing the Shabbat and the holidays, they're just passing by like every other day in the week. From that point, we got closer and closer to our religion, our tradition, our Judaism, which is so obvious here in Israel. But over there, we had to conduct the holidays to learn about the tradition and to be unable to allow it to our kids to know who they are. Furthermore, it was the first time that Ilan realized his identity as a Holocaust survivor son, a second generation. Meeting with the other communities in the Jewish communities all over the world, we realized that Ilan is representing not only the people here in Israel, but more than that. He's presenting all the Jewish people around the world. He wasn't the first astronaut, the Jewish astronaut, but he was the first one to ask for kosher food, for example. We're meeting with the other astronauts, coming from different backgrounds, coming from different countries. We became a one big multiple family. Multicultural, they enjoyed our tradition, we enjoy them, and our kids enjoy them all. And so we're going after 4 years of training. The crew got together, wonderful people from all around the world, and the crew understand that they're actually representing all mankind and working for all human beings. It was very important for them, for us, that everyone on this planet will be able to relate to the mission, a mission of hope and of unity.
15 seconds. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. We have a go for main engine start. 5, 3, 2, 1. We have booster ignition and liftoff of Space Shuttle Columbia with a multitude of national and international space research experience. Houston now controlling the flight of Columbia, the international research mission finally underway.
So many guests came from all over the world just to be a part of this
Columbia now rolling on to the proper azimuth for a
seeing our
39
loved
degree
ones
inclination
going
to orbit.
into space,
Shuttle on a heads down wing
fulfilling
level
their
position
dream
for the 8.5 minute
and
ride to
fulfilling
orbit.
their calling. They were working, as I said, for all mankind.
30 seconds into the
We had a
flight.
wonderful 16 days, which NASA television is in the background all the time. It was an amazing time for us. We all know exactly where we are and where we've been at that moment when we heard about the horrible tragedy that happened. We all know that on this uplifting moment, a problem happened and we lost the Columbia and the crew during entry to the atmosphere. We lost our loved ones and the struggle began. I understood that life is no longer will be the same as I know it. I knew that I have to hold on to a purpose that will enable me to continue. And of course, I didn't have to look too far. Those 4 children, a creation of love, was my purpose of life in that time. And for them, to enable them to grow up healthy in their body and their spirit, I struggled. I struggled and I looked for so many answers. I had so many questions and so hard feelings that I had to deal with. And the conflict brought me to a place that I needed to get some answers. So I went to the world that I really appreciate and actually brought me a little bit of organized to this horrible process of grieving. I went to the academic world, did my master's degree, my thesis on the effects of loss, and what I learned afterward, the post-traumatic growth that I felt. I was able to go back to my professional after graduating and to open my new clinic, helping and supporting others in their own process of grief and crisis in life. At that point, we came back to Israel. Asaf, my oldest son, like his dad, going through the screening of being a pilot in Israel. From a childhood dream to reality. Ilan, when he was very young, saw Neil Armstrong landing on the moon. A young kid in Beersheba said, I want to be an astronaut. Without even knowing, he's studying. He was very perfectionist about everything he did. And step by step, without even knowing it, as I said, fulfilled his dream. Asaf, like his dad, dreamt to be a pilot. He dreamt to be a pilot and he was drawing planes. He was 5 years old, drawing planes, playing with them. He always said that he wanted to be a pilot or a painter. And of course, I wish he would choose a different path in his life. Asaf, like his father, did a history in his short life. He was the first honor graduating as a second generation. Ilan and Asaf both finished this wonderful course of Flying Academy in honor. Unfortunately, the uplifting spirit that we felt in his graduation didn't last too long. It was a time for a new spirit that we felt, but 3 months after, we lost Asaf in a horrible training accident. The words cannot express, but going after his papers, I found this beautiful sentence that he wrote just less than a month before his accident. He said how blessed they were, his siblings and him, to grow up with parents that believe on realizing their dream and to follow and to find your own calling in life. I felt that this is the biggest compliment I ever got, being a good mom. So I decided to take this sentence and make it as my living will. I decided to try and to bring this opportunity to as many children as I can. Youth and children with potential and with not always with a wonderful condition to thrive. So I founded the Ramon Foundation. Today I'm standing as the president of the Ramon Foundation, very proud with my team and with our work. We're dealing with children with potential, with the leading aspects in their lives, and we're escorting them in 2 years of a program with the inspirational figure and an escort that they're escorting for them for 2 years. Wonderful people, wonderful children that makes transformation in their lives. We have a wonderful program for high school students, which we're sending the best among them to represent our country in the international space arena. I'm very proud of where I'm standing today. I became a mother for so many kids, for so many children, allowing the best among us to represent our country and enable them to fulfill their dream. אין דבר שמחמם ומרחיב את ליבי מאותה אמירה, ובאמת מאותה תחושה שהמשפחה שלנו מתרחבת. There are more than 30,000 kids, youth, and scholars after Ilan and Asaf's name. And when I see their smiles, when I see the blink in their eyes, I know that my loved one's smile will always be an inspiration for generation. Thank you.
Okay. Wow. Okay, watching it again, it's not that easy as I thought. So one of the morning's lectures called How I Rose from Ashes. In my opinion, growing up after losing a husband and a son is not easy at all. But when she speaks, you definitely can hear the hope she has, the determination for
Continuity.
Yes, thank you. Of her family. And we would love to hear what you think and feel about her words in this lecture. So we will open a Padlet we made. And there you can see some words and some posters that maybe you can relate to and share your thoughts and feelings.
Give me 1 second, I'm working on it.
Yeah, you got
We'll
it.
ask that if you can pick one, it could be either a word or a picture or anything. If you don't find something you connect with, then doesn't have to be from that, but something that you feel from after watching this this video.
Yeah.
I can also send the link, so if anybody wants to, you can scroll through it yourselves. So I'll send it in the chat.
TED Talk. How inspirational. Is that what you were referencing, Talia?
Pardon?
From the were you referencing that you will send a link to the TED Talk?
No, to this page, which has all the pictures.
Gotcha.
I can definitely send the link of the TED Talk as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Nitsan.
So has everybody picked one? Okay, this nodding. So does anybody feel comfortable sharing what they chose?
I think
I can. Oh,
oh,
go ahead, Ruth.
I was going to say determination. She's determined to, to get over her sadness and inspire the younger people.
Definitely. Thank you.
It's the same for me, determination, but I was thinking of strength. She's very strong. I'm just a little bit speechless because I never heard of the Ramon Foundation or the astronaut. I'm sorry. But I was very moved by the TED Talk. I could not believe this woman, how much her determination, her strength, and how she carries on her husband and son's legacy. It's quite a tragedy, but she turns it into hopeful future for
I also thought determination. What was the sentence that her son had written? Anyone know?
It talked about her, like his parents.
And then allowing him to people to do whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, I will tell you. I'm just opening it.
It was,
And Nissan, maybe sorry. I was just going to say, and maybe while you're opening it, Nissan, determination also was the word that I chose for a different reason, though. She was really determined. She was really determined to carry on the legacy of her husband and her son with respect to their love of flying and so I really saw her determination to carry forward the legacy that her husband and her son embarked on and couldn't finish their journey. So she's finishing their journey, if you will, through children, through supporting of the children who have similar dreams and similar aspirations. So I thought that was very poetic, especially since her son said, I wanted to really kind of thank my parents for allowing and encouraging us to be who we wanted to be. She was devoted to that and forward in the absence of her husband and son. So that's how I saw determination.
I also want to give a bit more context for anybody that doesn't know. But the flight or being a pilot in the Air Force, in the Israeli Army, is considered like that's the very top. This is the most elite, the most amount of testing, like top secret, and it is also volunteer. So some units, combat units, people will get put in if they fit based on the testing that the Army does. But in order to be a pilot, you have to volunteer and you also have to go through lots of screening. And also when a family member that has been, if there has been a family member that is lost through serving the country, the parent has an option to say no, to sign the form that's saying, I'm not going to let you be in these combat units. And so Rona didn't say this, but she did have the option to tell him, no, I'm not signing this form. I'm not allowing you to do the same thing that your father did. But she chose to, even though I'm sure it was hard for her. And to have that again and still care and still want whatever her children want, and even do that for other kids, I think is amazing.
Yeah. So I found his quote. He's saying, my siblings and I were brought up to aspire the realizations of our dreams, based on our parents' belief that everyone should discover his own calling. He wrote it in August 28th, 2009.
Thank you.
Yep. He also had his own journey. He wrote Yoman Masa, a journal, like his dad did. Ilan Ramon wrote Yoman Masa, that's the saying in Hebrew, on his way to space and while he was there. And Asaf loved painting and writing as well. So he had his own journal too. So I read a few pages from what Rona Ramon posted. It's amazing. It's like, wow. It's crazy to think about things that happen so fast and to Rona Ramon, to one family, but how inspiring is it to hear her and how strong she is. Like Ruth said, she's a very strong woman.
How old was Asaf when he died?
Let me tell you.
21, I was reading on line 21.
21.
And then it's unfortunate, everybody knows that she passed away as well from cancer.
Oh,
that was not long ago.
Oh, wow.
That was a few years ago. But now they have the airport at Eilat named for Ramon.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So there are a lot of high schools in Israel named after the family of Ramon. Streets. What else? There are a lot of books about this family because they are very inspiring. And of course, the foundation still working. And it's amazing. Yeah.
There's a street in Vaughan down the road from here beside the JCC that's named Ilan Ramon Way. Yeah.
Right. So does anyone else wants to share maybe? It's okay.
I think one of I'll share just I picked this picture. I think that also the name of her TED Talk was
like
yeah, so after like the phoenix, and so from ashes how we rise. And I think given her conditions, which were very hard, she chose the path of to grow and to help other children and to continue their legacy. And I think that's the best way she would want, like she named that TED Talk, she wanted people to remember them in that way. And I think we should also remember her in that way, and how she rose from the ashes and how she did incredible things for Israeli Space Week, but also in general, I think as a person, she was amazing, and it was very important for us to talk about her, about them, and yeah, and we hope you learned maybe a bit and
yeah.
enjoyed.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Toda rabba. We hope.
Thank you. Toda rabba.
Thank you very much.
Well done.